Happy New Year, everyone. Hey guys, James here. Welcome back to James Talks Movies, where today I am going to be doing my list of my top 10 favorite movies that have came out in 2023. It's a new year. We can leave 2023 behind us because we got a whole year ahead of us. But before we do that, I would like to tell my top 10 favorite movies that came out this year. But first, before we start any of that, there was a lot of films that came out this year. And of course, since life happens and I'm not able to see every movie that came out this year, there were a number of high-profile movies that I was not able to see. And before that we start my ranking, I want to tell what those movies are so you know what is not gonna be on my list. And those movies are Naiad, Priscilla, Quiz Lady, Dumb Money, Pain Hustlers, Asteroid City, Cocaine Bear, Creed 3, Blackberry, Godzilla -1, Talk to Me, Scream 6, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, The Flash, Aquaman The Lost Kingdom, Blue Beetle, May December, The Iron Claw, Napoleon, Migration, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, American Fiction, and Hunger Games The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So yes, guys, those movies are not going to be on the list, but if you think I should check out any of those movies that I missed, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to check out some, catch up on some movies that I missed this year. And also, obviously, even though I did not see every movie that came out this year, I did see a lot of movies that, some of them cannot make them on my top 10 list. I did see way more than 10, so I gotta have some honorable mentions. And those honorable mentions are The Boys in the Boat, a well put together yet familiar sports film. Family Switch puts a fun holiday spin on a familiar premise. Leo, a movie with funny gags and a sweet and funny performance from Adam Sandler. The Blind, a great movie that depicts what happens if you choose to go on the dark side of life. Barbie. Though Barbie is a fun, yet all over the place film, its sweet, honest take on the character of the well-known doll may make it worth a watch for some. Sound of Freedom. While Sound of Freedom may feel long for some, and may have some repetitive elements, it's a very necessary film, shedding some light on the issue of child trafficking, with a great performance by Jim Caviezel. Gran Turismo. While the first half may be super generic and uninteresting, it eventually turns into a super fun movie with most of the movie style and entertainment coming from director Neil Blomkamp. World's Best. A nice, stylish look at following your dreams. This Disney Plus original has a killer hip-hop soundtrack with a sweet father and son story at its core. The Super Mario Bros. Movie, a fun movie that does what it promises with its premise. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is a movie that is sure to please Super Mario Bros. Fans with some bright animation that brings the world of Super Mario to life, with some fun characters along the way. Maestro. While Maestro does not live up to the story's full potential, Maestro is worth a watch if you are interested in the true story of Leonard Bernstein, as well if you are in for a wonderfully directed movie with an outstanding starring performance by Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan. The Creator. with a thought-provoking story about all the power AI could have at its core. The creator is sure to please all sci-fi fans. The Marvels, a movie that has some creative fun with its premise. The Marvels is a fun team-up movie with 3 good performances from our leading ladies, even if it feels like it should have been shown as another season of Miss Marvel and has a weak villain. The Holdovers, a cute and fun 80s style comedy film teaching the audience to love everyone for who they are. The Holdovers is a wholesome movie despite me not fully feeling the holiday atmosphere it wants me to. Air, a uplifting sports-themed film that shows the rise of one of the most celebrated shoe brands of all time, with a shining performance from Viola Davis. Elemental. With a sweet yet familiar story, Elemental is yet another beautifully animated movie from Pixar with a nice story about immigrants and a love story at its core. And finally, we have Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. So yes, guys, those are my honorable mentions. Also, one more thing I want to preface before we start my top 10 list. This video is only talking about my top 10 list. You guys are gonna have a complete different opinion than my top 10 list, and is probably guaranteed to have different films than me. But that's the fun part. Everyone experiences things differently, and everyone enjoys different things. Therefore, we are gonna have different things in our list. But in the comment section down below of this video, please let me know your top 10 movies of 2023 and compare lists and tell what we like about them. And yeah, we don't have to do it in a disrespectful way at all. All of us enjoy movies, and all of us enjoy film, even if they're different from everyone else's favorites. It's still fun. So, please, in the comment section down below, when you tell your lists, and if you see other people's lists in the comments, please be respectful in the comments of other people's lists. I'm not gonna discard you guys for your lists, so I don't want you guys to do the same. With all that being said, let's get into my top 10 favorite movies of 2023. This movie is a movie about the coming of Jesus Christ when he was born, and about Mary and how she is the mother of Jesus. And this movie this retelling of this story is a musical. And I think one thing that this movie does so well is, although it's a musical, it does not downplay the subject matter of the story that it's telling at all. For those who want to go into this movie, wanting a good retelling of this story, that's exactly what you're gonna get, I think. And I think the songs in here are very well made, very well written to evoke an emotion and really tell what the characters are feeling. And sometimes with musical films, I feel like, especially ones that are trying to like have real life characters in them that actually did exist. They kind of have the characters do like certain weird things that they wouldn't do in real life. So if that makes sense, so it just feels a little off-putting. But I feel like this movie does not do this. Of course, since this is a musical, there's a little bit of that where you feel like it's a little bit of a stage play or a musical that you would see on Broadway or whatever, but it's not one that it's not so much that it takes you out of the movie. And also all the cast does a really good job in their roles. There's some comedy thrown in here that I think is very good. And yeah, so overall I really enjoyed Journey to Bethlehem, so that is why it is at my number 10. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a crazy movie, but I think it is a very good one. I think what this movie does so well is I think it just takes the idea of Spider-Man and all the Spider-Man and is a celebration of everything Spider-Man. It goes into so much detail about the lore and the experience of being Spider-Man. And as the movie suggests, it's our main character, Miles Morales, going across the Spider-Verse. And you kind of get to see him just exploring just all these Spider-Man worlds, and there's a bunch of villains that are coming after them. So, and I just feel like the lore and the character studies of all of these characters in here are very good, and it's very fun. It's very interesting if you're a Spider-Man fan. So if you can have a Spider-Man film that's very interesting, if you're a Spider-Man fan, I feel like that is awesome. Also, not to mention the animation in here is so good. It's it's reminiscent of the first movie, Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man animated movie. I forgot what it's called, but it's done in the same vein as that film, where it's a comic book style, but this movie takes it to a whole nother level with so many different animation styles that is very visually fun to look at. So yeah, all Spider-Man fans, I definitely do recommend this movie for you. This movie kind of has a kind of familiar premise to some sci-fi movies. This movie is about Kevin Gardner, a character who gets swept away into a different reality where there's none of his friends are there. Everything different that he knows from his normal life is out, and he has nothing. And he gets swept away from by this character named the Benefactor, who is a character who is reminiscent of Satan, and he is a character who can swipe people into different realities, different like versions of their realities that they know, and so he's able to sweep them away. But it's since it's not the reality that they know, they're struggling, they're not having a good time, they're just trying, especially Kevin Gardner, who we're following, is trying to get back and try to figure out how to get back to his wife that he had. What I think this movie does very well, and why it's at my number 8 spot, is because I think that while this movie kind of has a familiar premise talking about multiverse and different realities and stuff like that. This movie actually is a parable of the story of Job in the Bible. So if you know the story of Job, I think this movie is going to be a must watch for you guys. There is a lot of Christianity talk in this movie. Overall, I just really like, me personally, I really like that twist. I really like the message that it's talking about. Even if you guys are not a fan of like Christianity type movies, I do still recommend this movie for you guys, because it is still talking about what really matters in life, which is family and friends and stuff like that. So I just feel like the message of this movie and the way it intertwines with the sci-fi, I feel like is very good. So that is why it is at my number 8. This movie stars Woody Harrelson as Marcus, who is a basketball coach who has been teaching high school basketball all of his life. He's used to teaching high schoolers, and all of a sudden, he's just kind of like a sketchy dude who's been kind of like drunk driving and doing all this illegal stuff that does get him in trouble with the law. And because of all of that, he gets sent to court. And in the courtroom, they tell him that he needs to, there's a place where kids with autistic behaviors are learning basketball at this school. So he needs to go and just coach them and just try to get them to be the best that they can. So that's what this movie follows. It's Woody Harrelson's character Marcus trying to coach these kids with autism, and it's just their relationship, watching their relationship grow and stuff like that. And what I think why this movie made my top 10 list is I feel like this movie is just very uplifting. This is one of the rare movies that you just feel that's there to make you feel uplifted and feel like anyone can do everything. This movie has so many fun characters in here. The kid actors who are obviously in real life also autistic do a very good job at doing this movie. And they all they're all very well written characters. They have so much personality in them, and just getting to know every single one of them is very interesting. And I just feel like this is a very fun, cute movie that does prove that anyone can do everything if they put their mind to it. This movie is directed by Sarah Spillane and stars Tegan Croft as our main character, Jessica Watson. And Jessica Watson was real person. This movie is based on a true story about Jessica Watson, who aspires to be the youngest woman ever to sail across the ocean, and she is a teenager, and it follows her on her journey to try to sail across the whole ocean. And what I think this movie does so well, kind of in the same vein as Champions, is this movie just really brings you on this uplifting journey. This movie is not here to just talk about this tragedy that happened, and then everyone needs to try to save someone from this terrible tragedy. This movie is not that. It's an uplifting story that is there to tell you about a very uplifting, fun thing that happened that is telling you to live your dream. Don't let fear stop you. And there is just so many fun moments in this movie, and very uplifting moments that make you think beyond the scenes, that makes you think about stuff beyond the movie, about following your dreams, and all of that stuff. Also, what I think this movie does so well is I think it follows the character, the person, that last character, Jessica Watson, very well, and doesn't shy away from the fact that she has insecurities, she has flaws, she's not a perfect character, she has struggles, and you get to see those struggles, but you also get to see how determined of a person she is. And I think just the characterization of the Jessica Watson in here makes her feel real, which she was, which I feel like for a biopic movie that is very important. I did not review this movie on my channel, but I do really like this movie. It's on Netflix. I feel like not lots of people are talking about this movie, so if you are bored and kind of want an uplifting movie that talks about following your dreams, I think this one is definitely one of the best. This movie is directed by Rob Marshall and is a live-action interpretation of the 1989 animated movie of the same name, The Little Mermaid. And why I am putting this on my number 5 spot is I just think it's a very good adaptation. Robert Marshall is a director that's really well known for directing movies, musical movies, such as Mary Poppins Returns, and Chicago, and Into the Woods. So it's a director that really knows how to bring the world of stage plays and stage musicals to the screen, and I feel like with this one, it's no different. For this movie, he brings everything that you would want, from the original, like the character of Ariel and the characterizations of, lots of these characters, he brings to this movie, but he also adds an element, a story element to it that, in the original, Ariel meets this prince named Prince Eric, and you get to see their relationship grow and everything. But in that original movie, it's shorter, therefore you don't get a lot of development with those two. But with this movie, you do. You get to see a little bit more of how Prince Eric and Ariel are similar to each other, and how much they care for each other. And yeah, I just think that extra story element just adds a little bit more to both characters to kind of just make them a little bit more interesting and a little bit more compelling. There is a couple characters that I feel like in this movie are not as interesting as the original. Most notably the animal sidekicks, Scuttle, Sebastian, Flounder, and they are kind of there in this movie. They kind of are just there for gags and funny lines and stuff, which I do feel like Rob Marshall also does a really good job of bringing elements of the cartoony side of the original to this movie to create some funny gags. But I feel like some of the characterizations, while the human characters are a little bit more developed, I feel like the animal sidekick characters are just really one note, and you don't feel the any connection to them because you don't really know what they like, what their dislikes are, what their quirks are. They're just kind of there to have fun and have some funny gags, and they kind of do that very well. So that kind of like makes it better. That kind of helps the negative that I have with it. But overall, I think this movie is really good. Halle Bailey is a star. She does so good as Ariel. Wait till you watch the movie. Her pipes are good. This movie is about a doll who kills people. Doesn't that sound fun? Well, it kind of is to me. A little background with me. If you don't really know, I'm not really a big horror person. I actually hate horror movies. I don't like being scared when watching a movie. That's not entertaining to me. And all horror movies kind of have the same tropes, and eventually I'm just watching the same movie over and over again, it feels like. So yeah, with me, I'm not really a big horror person, but with Megan, its goal is not to be scary. Its goal is to talk about AI and how much AI is helpful to us, definitely, but if we're not careful, how much it can affect our relationships and stuff like that. So I feel like that core of the movie, that message that it's trying to convey in the movie, makes it a very interesting watch. Megan as a character is very fun, very she can be very sweet actually as a character. And yeah, I just feel like all the cast does a really good job, and I just feel like the thing that they're trying to convey with this movie, a lesson that they're trying to teach, and the reason this movie was made is very much full force in this movie. You definitely get, this movie is not scary, like I said. There's a couple, like, jump scares, like, from dogs or animals or something like that. Just something that, makes you a little bit jumpy, but, I feel like if, younger kids can watch this movie, maybe not really young kids, they might still be scared because it's a doll walking around doing creepy stuff, but it's very PG-13 and it's very silly, it's very cheesy. But for me personally, I really like cheesy and like movies. So I feel like when it's all fun and campy like that, I like fun and campy. So it is at my number 4 spot. Oppenheimer. This movie is awesome. This movie is directed by Christopher Nolan, who has directed such movies as The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, and Inception. And this movie is another biopic movie on this list, chronicling the life of Robert J. Oppenheimer, who was a scientist in the 40s, 1940s, who wanted to create this bomb called the atomic bomb that will forever change the course of history and how people forever changed the look on atomic weapons and weapons in general. So, yes, guys, this movie is bomb, to put it lightly. I think this movie does a really good job of not only telling of how everything went down, but also the visual interpretation of how Oppenheimer's mind works in here is very well done. There's so many, like, you can see his, like, there's little glimpses inside Oppenheimer's brain, to where you can kind of see, his thought process through some awesome, like, practical, effects that I haven't really watched any like behind the scenes like documentaries or anything on this film, but apparently they were all done practically, and when you watch the movie, it is mind-blowing that it's done practically, because it's so colorful, it's so, I don't know, those effects that it does really helps you like understand everyone's fear, everyone's thought process, everyone's thought process on this monumental event. And I feel like this movie as a warning, this movie is 3 hours long, and I feel like when you go into this movie, I feel like it is worth the 3 hours, mainly because it's not just going through all the motions of what happened in the story. It's telling the thought process of how everything went down. The thought process everyone had to go through to try to do this safely, and how to do it correctly. So I feel like if you are very much into like courtroom dramas, or movies that like to go into a lot of detail on history stuff, like that, I feel like this movie is definitely for you. And all the cast, like Killian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, all of these wonderful actors, among more, are in here, and I feel like this movie is definitely worth a watch. Coming in my number 2 spot, we have Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And this movie it's a very sweet movie, and a cute movie, which is why it's on my number 2 spot. And this movie is a coming-of-age movie about Margaret. Margaret is a teenage girl who is on the verge of starting her period, and just is starting to go into doing more things and exploring herself more. And so you get the whole movie, you basically get Margaret as she's trying to figure out herself and just figure out the human that she wants to eventually become. And what I think this movie does so well is it does exactly what you want with a coming of age story, where you have this character just trying to figure out all aspects of everything in her life. Like, there's a lot of religion talk in this movie, her grandparents are a different religion than her parents. Her grandparents are Muslim and her parents are Christian, so she's kind of in a little muddle because she doesn't know which religion she should be because just because both sides of our family are in different religions, she doesn't really know which one she should pick. On top of that, she is starting her period. She's kind of starting to grow up and feel a little bit more emotions and stuff like that. So you get her trying to uh, show her human body and try to comprehend of what's going on with all of that. So yeah, there's lots of layers with everything that she's trying to figure out in this movie. So Margaret as a character is Margaret's journey is very interesting to follow in this movie. But also I think all the other human characters are too. Her mom is played by Rachel McAdams in here, and she plays a really sweet mom too. Margaret, obviously, she was a teenager before, so she kind of knows what she's going through. There's lots of side characters and funny characters in here that just are really relatable. I think this movie does a really good job of being really relatable with the relationships of all the characters. Margaret has her grandparents, whom she has a really good relationship with. She talks to them all the time. And me personally, I also do. So I feel like that also connected with me. And I feel like there's lots of characters in here that you can connect with. Whether it's Margaret, whether it's her parents, Margaret's parents. And I feel like there is a lot of like dramatic avenues in this movie too that it just makes you feel for these characters a little bit more and kind of gets you to know a little bit more of the backstory. So yeah, you care for all of these characters. You get to know a lot about Margaret and her. You want her to try to figure out herself the best that she can. And that is why it is at my number 2 spot. Wonka is, yes, coming in at my number 1 spot. This movie is directed by Paul King. And to get straight into why I think this is definitely the best movie of the year is I feel like this movie is a prequel to Willy Wonka, the original 1971 film Willy Wonka. So it follows Willy Wonka as a young child, not child, but yeah, kind of like a young teenager, a young Willy Wonka. And you kind of get to see him, his upbringing, what makes him so passionate about making chocolate. And I feel like, first of all, what makes this movie great to me is I feel like the Timothy Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet in here plays Willy Wonka, and I feel like he does a really, really good job of just making Willy Wonka the same character as he was in the original. You really believe that he is a young Gene Wilder who played Willy Wonka in 1971. You really believe that it's a young version of that character. You also have him being a little bit more fun and imaginative because he's just starting out. He's young. He's just trying to figure everything out. He's full of joy. So you kind of get that side of the character more in this movie than you did in 1971. But you can also tell that he's just as naive and just as smart-witted as Gene Wilder was in 1971. So, yeah, I just feel like that is a very important element to a prequel film to make you believe that this is actually an origin story to the original movie that it's telling the origin story from. And I think that also the tone of this movie is definitely not going to be for everyone. This is definitely, I can see why this movie is not on a bunch of people's number one list. I mean number one on their list, but I feel like the tone of this movie, which is very silly, it's very out there, it's very fun. It's very, you got all these characters, like you got these villains who are Chocolate Cartel, who try to stop Willy Wonka from creating his own chocolate shop and creating all these chocolates because they feel like he's causing too much of a ruckus. So they are there to kind of make Willy Wonka try to stop him from doing everything that he does. And I think that's a very funny spin on cartels, like business cartels, but they're chocolate cartels, who are kind of chocolate critics who taste a lot of chocolate. And yeah, they're really fun. They're really funny. You've got a lot of funny, really funny gags in here that made me laugh out loud, especially because I feel like the fun, naive nature of Willy Wonka comes out with a lot of these products that he creates with these gadgets and gizmos. You really feel like you're in the world of Willy Wonka because there's just so many out of the ordinary odd things in this movie. But this movie isn't all just like all silly without any breaks or not any kind of dramatic avenues. There's a little bit in here because lots of these characters are really relatable. You have the character Noodle in here, and Noodle is a character who kind of befriends Willy Wonka, and I think what makes their relationship really special is you get to feel her passion for kind of just wanting to get out more in the world and experience more things. And of course, Willy Wonka is always into trying new things and experiencing different things because he likes to experiment with all his chocolates and gadgets and all of that. So you get these two characters that really do get along with each other. That's really fun to watch, and they kind of help each other with a lot of some like issues they might have come along the way. And so that just adds a little bit of sweet element to the movie, a little bit of emotional core to the movie. And finally, you also have Hugh Grant in here as a Oompa Loompa named Lofty. Now, this particular Oompa Loompa is the first Oompa Loompa that Willy Wonka has came across, and I think Hugh Grant does a really good job of giving an Oompa Loompa a character, like giving him a little more of a personality, because in the original, they kind of just there to teach the audience a couple of lessons, and sing their Oompa Loompa song that they're famous for. So yes, I feel like she does a really good job of just coming in and being a little bit of fun and adding a little character to a character that doesn't really have a character. So yes, guys, that is why it comes in at my #1 spot. So yes, guys, those were my top 10 favorite movies of 2023. With all that being said, in the comment section down below, like I said in the beginning of this video, don't forget to leave your top 10 favorite movies of your own in the comment section down below. I would love to discuss all of our favorite films together. There is a lot of movies coming out this next year, and who knows if they will be good or not. But in order to be here and discuss all these upcoming films together, don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and leave a like on this video. Also, turn those bell notifications on so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.